Hello, I am the Greek Geek because I'm 50% Greek and 100% a geek. Now, this movie asks the question of if a being like Superman came to Earth and instead of him being its protector, he was instead its destroyer. A very interesting premise in my opinion. Before we go forward, if you're new to my channel, I'm a channel that talks about movies in the sci-fi, fantasy, monster, and superhero genres. I love those kind of movies. I talk about them a lot, and TV shows as well. If that sounds like something you would be interested in, please consider hitting the subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date with my newer videos. Now, moving forward.
We believe that you came here for a reason.
The basic plot is that a young couple with fertility problems find a space alien baby and decides to adopt him, which sounds like a fantastic idea on pen and paper, but when you actually do it, it's not a good thing. As he grows up, he begins to display superpowers and more disturbing tendencies, and they try and figure out what to do. Again, a very interesting premise.
What are you doing?
I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the cast, but Jackson A. Dunn plays Brandon Breyer / Brightburn, and he did a really good job, I think. Both of the parents are played by Elizabeth Banks and David Denham. They both did really good in their roles, I think. Completely unrelated to those three characters. Those are the characters I'll be focusing most on because it's not a big cast. It's not a big budget movie either. But all the other characters seem like pretty dumb when it comes to dealing with Brandon when he has his superpowers. I noticed this so much. Almost every other character that has to deal with him, they always look at him, look away, and then look back, and he's gone. I swear every character that isn't one of the main characters, even the main characters, they do this a lot too, but they do it so much. Jackson A. Dunn, I think, did a really good job in this movie, especially as a child actor. A lot of child actors aren't that great. Well, there seems nowadays that there's more and more that child actors are getting better and better, actually. But I think he did a really good job portraying a young and intelligent, innocent child towards the start of the movie. He portrayed that very well, and then have a slow kind of descent into being evil, even though those evil tendencies were kind of forced on him, but I won't say what happens and all that. But the actor does a really good job with it, I think. The kid hasn't been in that many movies, but I reckon he's done a pretty good job. And both the parents as well, I think both actors did a really good job acting as well. They did a really good job of playing loving and legitimately caring parents for this child they adopted, and then as things begin to unfold and they learn about what he's doing and what he's done, they really portray it like being very shocked and unable to really deal with what's going on. It's really out of their league.
He was in the barn.
Did he find it?
No. It was like he was drawn to it.
The tone of this movie is basically horror movie, and it does a really good job of setting that tone. It creates a good sense of suspense and dread. But most of the time it's ruined by jump scares. I personally hate jump scares. I think they're really cheap to get a scare, but god damn it, they work on me every single time. But for me, when it comes to horror movies, when there's like a scary entity or menace that's around, it's the not knowing what it is, if it's a monster or alien or some kind of other supernatural being. It's that kind of suspense that really gets to me. But in this, I know exactly who and what is pursuing all these characters and killing them. I still had that feeling of suspense. So the movie did a really good job in that regard. But it does rely heavily on jump scares, and there's a lot of moments where Brandon / Brightburn is watching people and they don't know where he is. They do scenes very well like that, where we as the person watching the film can see where he is, but the people in the movie have no idea, and it's really good in that regard. So I didn't know how violent this movie was going to be. It makes sense now, but this is very, very violent. There is some pretty insane stuff that happens in this. It's almost on like Saw levels of gore. There isn't a lot of it, but the few things they do, it really sticks out. And seeing someone who has the same kind of powers as Superman, like super strength, being able to fly, super speed, and shooting laser beams out of their eyes, it was really interesting to see those kinds of powers used for evil intentions, like killing people. So that was really entertaining to see. I guess I'm a bit messed up in the head. I'm not going to gripe too much on the special effects because this movie is really low budget. I do believe it was made for $6 million, which is a really low budget for a movie nowadays. But the special effects for the most part were pretty good. Like, Brandon moves very fast around when he's flying, so you don't really get a good glimpse of it. But there was a scene where he was flying really slowly, and it did not look that great towards the end of the movie. But his laser beam eyes, I thought, looked really good and really convincing. And the gore as well looked really good as well. Really convincing. Thinking back, I'm not really 100% sure if they used a lot of practical effects or if it was just all CGI, but they did a really good job in that regard. I think this movie is paced consistently, is the way I want to say. It only has an hour and a half runtime, which I think is perfect for this kind of movie. We don't want a 2.5 hour, 3 hour long movie like this, and it doesn't feel too short either. I think it was the kind of there was a perfect runtime, and it ran at a really good pace. Things that I enjoyed is it had a good pace. I really enjoyed the acting from the three main characters. The characters were really well done. I enjoyed the dialogue. The gore was really good. I really enjoyed the story and the premise of the story. And there were some really good uses of horror elements. But that's bringing me to the things I didn't enjoy so much, which is jump scares. They're lame. I don't like them, but they do get me. And there were also some bad CGI moments. Didn't detract from the movie too much, but it does kind of take you out a bit when you see unconvincing CGI. My final word of advice is don't adopt space alien babies, because that could end very badly. So I really enjoyed this subversion of a superhero movie if a superpowered being used their powers for bad. And if you really like superhero movies and want to see a subversion of the superhero kind of trope, then you would find this very interesting. If you're a horror fan, you would, in my opinion, pretty good movie. Not great, not fantastic, not mind-blowing, but it is a really entertaining time. So now I'm going to talk a bit about some spoilers I wanted to talk about. If you haven't seen the movie, then click off the video now. Or if you don't care about spoilers, continue watching. So towards the end of the movie, I think they're leaving it kind of open for an extended universe. Shocking, I know. It's not like every single franchise is trying to do that nowadays. But we see this, internet YouTuber, blogger or whatever, played by Michael Rooker. He's talking about Brightburn, which is what they're calling the super villain, I guess, in this movie. Like this, we see him destroying buildings and that kind of thing, but then we see other beings as well, one being described as half fish, half man, which I think is kind of a nod to Aquaman, and another about a witch that was strangling people with a piece of rope or lasso or something. And I think that's a nod to Wonder Woman. Whether they're just like casual nods to other DC superheroes, I'm not sure, or if they're building up to some kind of expanded universe, I'm not sure. They also talk about a hero wearing, I don't remember seeing it though, but when I was researching this, I heard that there was a hero with a red suit and I think of like a lightning bolt or something. I thought that would have been referencing The Flash, but apparently it might be referencing another movie that James Gunn did called Super, which is about a hero with no powers that became the Crimson Bolt. So it might be linking to that, or it just might be just a casual nod to a project that didn't do too well either 9 years ago when I think it came out. So anyway, those were my thoughts for Brightburn. If you've seen it, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm not sure how many people have actually seen it. I don't think that many people are talking about it actually, which is a bit of a shame. So if you enjoyed it or hated it, please let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching my video. I do appreciate you. listening to me ramble on about a movie for a few minutes. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time.